what is going on with society? Like, what is going on with this world? Like, it's not just the world. Like, it's the church as well. Like, and in today's video, I just really have to say this. What is going on with society? Like, what is going on with this world? Like, it's not just the world. Like, it's the church as what is going on? What is going on? Okay. The reason why I'm saying this is because and I really just want to talk about this. I've just been really feeling this in my heart, and I have to talk about this. If you haven't heard, or if you haven't watched the documentary of Hillsong, where everything that has been going on with Hillsong and a lot of the things are being uncovered, I've been actually following, Hillsong, because, every church that I've gone to sing their songs. And now there's a lot of this, that is being uncovered from Hillsong. And so, but what is going on? Because there is this fascination, and I get it, and then I don't get it. There is this fascination with celebrity worship, and Hillsong in particular was huge, okay? And everybody has heard about Hillsong. They sing their songs, and everybody has heard about Lentz, and who's one of the pastors at Hillsong in New York City. He was caught cheating, and he's married, and then he stepped down, and then now they have an updated documentary on Hulu.
We choose narrative over truth, and that leads to disaster.
He told followers the more bad that happens, the closer we are to deliverance.
They were protecting cases of sexual abuse.
This is going to be bigger than I suspected.
Hillsong lost control of the narrative.
What are they protecting?
We couldn't have been more wrong.
FX's The Secrets of Hillsong finale.
And I get why people are turning away, and it's sad at the same time, but it doesn't take away how powerful God is and who God is, okay? When you watch the documentary, you see like an update on Lentz's family after everything that has been uncovered, some of the things that he walked through, and him and his family have seemed really humbled, and he is very honest about the journey that he is on. He apologized in a lot of the issues that was brought up, and I'm sure it was hard, and it looked hard. It looked really hard to see him talk about, a lot of the hard things, and his wife talked about it as well, and she was crying most of the time, which I'm sure, and I am heartbroken, that they had to walk through something so hard anyway, and having to deal with this with the children, and another added layer with the children and stuff. It's a sad story. At the same time, it doesn't take away, again, who God is. And again, what I like about the documentary is that Lentz talk about that. Him and his wife, they talk about God's goodness and things like that, on top of the mistakes that they have made, and then why his wife is still sticking by him, and why she's still married to him. So the whole point, again, of me even talking about it is because on top of what happened with Lentz, there is a lot of the founder has been sexually assaulting the children in the church, and this has been going on for decades, okay? Decades, okay? And this is so heartbroken, and this is terrible that it took this long for the people of the church to listen to these victims and these people that are talking about this hard thing that has happened to them, this situation. Yes. On the other hand, there is this obsession with celebrity worship. So now that Lentz, who's at the top, basically in the society standards, everybody knew about him. He was on different talk shows and talking about God, which is awesome, but at the same time his life didn't reflect that. And so you know, a lot of people, because of Carl Lentz, is not following God. And that's something that I really want to talk about. And I really want to do that on my channel of, you know, really encouraging people to not look at celebrities, not look at man, or not look at other people and what they're doing, but really focusing on who God is. The person that even said this to him, like, oh, you know, I recognize you. You're Carl Lentz from that church, right? And then the guy asked him, like, how does it feel to be all the way up here, and then now you're at this low level type of job? And, you know, number one, the type of job that he had is not low level, you know, it's a job. And then number two, you take care of his family, and, you know, he accounts for the mistakes that he have made. And I commend him for that. I came across this information about a church called Beyonce Mass. Yeah, a church called Beyonce Mass. And let me just read to you what this church is about. And it makes sense to me why society is really looking at celebrities, looking at, oh, look at what this person is doing, and let's worship them, you know, let's do what they're doing, let's copy them type of attitude, okay? So if you go to the website, okay, there is a website, and there is so much information about this particular church, and it's called Beyonce Mass, and this is what they're about. Beyonce Mass is a groundbreaking worship service featuring Beyonce's music that celebrates the spirituality of Black women who demand. Wow, that's actually pretty. That demand. Okay, Beyonce Mass is a Christian worship service that is open to all. It does not deify Beyonce. The worship service uses Beyonce's life and music as a tool to engender positive, empowering conversations about Black women. Now, okay, this church started in 2018, and it is going strong now. To me, it's surprising that it describes itself that Beyonce Mass is a Christian worship service that is open to all. A Christian worship service. Now, when you say Christian, it just seems like there's a lot of definitions as to what a Christian is, just like there's a lot of definitions on what a male is, on what a female is. And I learned that Christian means a follower of Jesus Christ. Now, when you say that you are a follower of Jesus Christ, why would you use Beyonce's music as a tool? And what did they say? It was a tool to engender positive, empowering conversations about Black women. You can do that with the Bible. You can do that with just the scriptures from the Bible. The world. As Christians, we are called to be set apart from the world. In 1 John 2:15-17, and I'm going to read the scripture. I'm going to read the scripture, and I'm going to put all the scriptures that I'm talking about in the description box below, okay? It says, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Now, that by itself, okay, let me just finish. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride of life is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. Basically just saying that this is just temporary. Like everything you have seen with, for example, everything that has happened with Hillsong and with Carl Lentz, it is temporary. When you start to do the things of the world, it is not sustaining. The things of the world is not sustaining. The flesh, the desires. Romans 12:2 talks about this. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. I mean, it speaks for itself, okay? It's all the scriptures speak for themselves on what happens when you start to worship celebrities, when you start to worship other things. And I just wanted to give you a clip on the director of Hillsong, the director of the documentary of Hillsong. And I just wanted to show you guys just a little bit. And even in the documentary, it gives you a update on how many churches of Hillsong has closed down because of everything that has now unfolded with this church. And it's sad that now this person, these people that have once followed Christ, this one guy said that he is happy being an atheist. He's happy not believing in God. And that breaks my heart. And the director of the documentary was going into, and she is a female, and she says that she is not a religious person. And that sounds bad, because now the people of the church, there's some things that's happening, and it's almost like people that's in the congregation, that's even in the church, have blinders on, and these people are yelling at the top of their lungs for help, and nobody's listening. And so someone who's not religious is doing this, and things are happening. And I honestly hope that these people find peace from the things that have been done to them for so long. And so
it's been almost a year, just over a year and a half, that I've been working on it from start to finish. In the prelim phase, just getting the story down, understanding the key players, understanding the key issues and perspectives. We interviewed a lot of people, upwards 50, 60 maybe. It's a story with a lot of sensitivity around it. So we've always kind of gone in with a very small but nimble crew, just so it created that kind of safety for the subjects, that sense of comfort for the subjects of the Hillsong story. But it was very, very important to us that we also balanced all the other perspectives as well. For a lot of people who are even within this, knowing that Carl is also in it is incredibly triggering for them as well. And their perspectives were not heard for so long, and I think for them and for us, as we made this, it was a very delicate dance, trying to create that trust on all sides. Obviously, talking with different congregants and the kind of level of impact. I mean, Hillsong would not be what it is in terms of its reach and scope and scale without the Carl Lentz aspect of it. He comes with his own personal trauma that he's experienced and feeling and still working through. I think what Hillsong was incredibly good at was the image and the publicity and the PR of how they presented the church. A lot of the criticism about Carl is how charming he is. Watching his sermons, it is undeniable. The level of talent, he was an incredible preacher, incredible performer. So there was certainly an element of just a kind of a heightened vigilance, I guess, in a way, of just making sure that every time we talked about difficult things, we went to the places, even if he did not want to talk about them, creating an environment with why we're talking about them. And I would ask questions often, and Carl will tell you this himself, over and over again. People, as you know, when you work with celebrities, when you work with people who are media trained and things like that, they know how to answer things a certain way. As a documentarian, as a director, having worked with other celebrities before, my job is to break that down. My job is
decisions that I made, the pain those caused, the betrayals involved. I did those things. Those are on me. I take responsibility for those. And the rest of my life, I'll be making amends where I can.
This project, I hope, creates a kind of transparency and an openness with which to talk about the religious systems within, the global community. And as I said at the beginning, it's not a takedown of religion in any sense. It's an ability to understand the good that's done, but also the lines that are crossed that are bad, and how to look out for those, because we live in a culture where celebrity worship, personality worship is just, in every stage of not just religion. Hillsong ultimately is a worship of Jesus, of God. And I hear this over and over again in the interviews, is it needs to look like God. It needs to act like God. And when you start to kind of measure it by those standards, you start to see something very different. I'm not a religious person myself. And I also don't see this as necessarily a straightforward story about religion. I think this is a story about our culture. This is a story about our time. This same system within church and idolization and, power structure and all these kind of things. Look to Hollywood, look to the finance industry, look to politics. This is a story that transcends all of those things. And we just happen to be telling one that happens to take place within a church.
Again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know, have you heard of Beyonce Mass, and have you heard of, or have you seen a documentary? Let me know in the comments below, and let's have a discussion. Let's have a dialogue on what's going on. Thank you so much for watching, and tune into my next video. God bless.